So there's a certain irony to be standing on stage at a university. You see, when I was young, I spent a whole lot of time, at least this is what the teachers said in my report card, I spent a whole lot of time staring out the window, daydreaming. And fast forward 35, 40 years, truth is I spend my time staring out a window every day still. But this time I'm getting paid for it. This is the best thing in the world. So I spend a lot of time looking at emerging technologies and looking at what is coming. So some people say the role is being a futurist. I think it's just daydreaming. So what I want to do is take you through a little bit about what it means and how you can look at the future and the lenses that you can use to look at the future. So anybody super geeky like me? This happened last week. This is SpaceX. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so they launched the heaviest, biggest rocket ever created, and it successfully landed the 2 rocket boosters on the side simultaneously. This is just amazing, because this progress happened in about 6 years. The rate of progress in space is absolutely amazing. How is this happening? At the same time, we have the rise and crash of Bitcoin. Anybody got Bitcoin in the audience? When did you buy is the question, right? So there's a lot of ups and downs happening. So how do you look at this? What are the lenses that you can use to do that? And really what we're talking about is technology and society, or sociology, tech and society, the interplay between the two of them. See, technologists and technology companies just offer a value proposition. They offer a product, but it's up to you, citizens, people, citizens of Earth. You're the ones who decide whether to accept or reject what is coming. So when thinking about breaking barriers and breaking through, ultimately what it comes down to is there a large shift in the social fabric? It's caused really by a collective belief system that this is something we want to embrace. So really it's a collective decision that we do make on whether we're going to be using iPhones, whether we're going to be using WhatsApps or Instagrams or all those things. It's our decision. So how does this all happen? Wow, that's really tricky. 4 ingredients for making shift happen. How do we make the shift into a progressive society going forward? And part of that is you have to do it at the right time. More ideas fail because it's just great idea, wrong time. The other thing is it the right problem? Is it a societal problem that we are really fixing? Are the monumental problems being looked at? Do you have the right people involved in fixing that or building that problem or building that solution? And finally, how do you stop it from regressing? How do you stop it from falling back? How do we make sure things don't fall through the cracks? So let's jump into this. This is about right timing. And this is, anybody ever seen this before? Anybody doing business? We look to the future lenses through Gartner's trough of disillusionment. Now, I don't know who Gartner is. I don't know why he's disillusioned, but this is what we've been using for quite a few years on predicting the future. And we plot technologies against this. So essentially, it's a beautiful sine wave that innovation starts off. It's usually the rough one, the first iteration of it. But people get really, really excited by it. You get a lot of media, everybody's talking about it, and then it doesn't quite live up to expectations, and it drops into the trough of disillusionment. Anybody thinking about cryptocurrencies in that? And then it kind of repurposes itself, it regenerates, it's at a second iteration, or version 2 comes out, and then it kind of starts pulling itself back into the real world, and then you get into the slope of enlightenment, which sounds really, really cool, and then you get to the plateau of productivity. And that's when you start getting market adoption. That's when you kind of realize it's not going to go away and it's going to be something really impressive. But we don't chart companies against that. We actually chart technologies against that. So this is different technologies plotted against the chart. And a lot of stuff you've seen or heard of, but this kind of gives you an idea. This is about 6 months ago. But it gives you a sense like virtual reality is coming. We already knew it a long time ago, but it's gone through the trough. And now it's coming, and it's going to be really something, because it's going to be the next generation of it. Augmented reality, however, is at the bottom right now. It's in the role of being rebuilt. Then you go all the way up to the top hype. What's the biggest hype thing right now? Connected homes and, what is it? Yeah. Connected homes, deep learning, autonomous vehicles, all the stuff that we're reading about right now that everybody's getting really excited by is going to drop into the trough. And then you kind of go into like what's emerging. This is really cool stuff, right? Over here, you've got human augmentation, quantum computing, 4D printing. There's a fourth dimension to printing we didn't know about. And then you have smart dust. What is smart dust? Dust that's smart, right? Well, I had to Google it. So here's what I found out. Smart dust is basically exactly what it sounds like. That was a bit of a disappointment, but it's basically a computer the size of a pinhead. Well, actually, think of the smallest pin you've ever seen in your life. The head on that pin, that's the size of the computer. It's coming. Like this is real. This has been developed. Think about the applications for this, and think about the implications of this. Right? This is where this goes back. Yeah, we can do it, but should we? Yes, it's coming, but wow, what do we do about it? What are the ethics behind some of this stuff? This is the stuff society we have to figure out. Good news is, going back to that chart, it's about 10, 15 years away. So here's where things get perceptive. You know, perception is reality, but this is what you can really hope for if you're in the technology industry. That's called hockey stick growth curves, or an exponential curve. And this is what most technologies go through. And this is where things take off, where you're talking exponential growth of doubling, tripling, 10xing, 100xing. You know, we've heard a lot about different technologies that are really ramping up very, very quickly. We have companies that are going from nothing to being what we call unicorns, which are billion-dollar valuations. We're seeing this happen in like 2 months now. Like the rapid growth of these companies through technology is just unbelievable. And it's hard to even comprehend because as humans, we're linear thinking. Like just the way we're programmed. Like generally speaking, we have grown up with the idea that progress kind of happens over time. We think in annualized earnings. We think about bank interest, like maybe you can make a couple of percent on your investments, you get a savings account. We think about these things in a very linear kind of way, month after month. This totally changes when you start looking at new technology, and especially disruptive technology. So this is where it's kind of like the trough of disillusionment. This is how you kind of come out of it, but mockery is kind of what happens when you have the exponential, the stuff that's kind of bubbling under, and then the linear thinkers are actually going, well, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why would anybody want to have a cryptocurrency when I have real money? Why would I want to use some of these different technologies? This is the mockery period. And then, so just for this example, let's just talk about cryptocurrencies in general. If you said to somebody, I bought a bunch of cryptocurrencies 3 years ago, they'd probably question you a lot. If you said that you had, at Christmas time, bought into a bunch of cryptocurrencies, I think a lot of people would be saying, yeah, me too. Or, I bought some for grandma for Christmas. Which is true, it's happening really, really quickly. So you have this acceptance that's happening, and that's where that line kind of crosses at that acceptance point. That is the most beautiful moment. That is when it's like, it's gonna really happen. The challenge with, say, crypto at this point, though, is society's accepted it, but now it's starting to freak out. The regulators, as it starts growing, governments, banks, financial institutions are freaking out. This rocks their world. It is so disruptive, but it's coming, and it's not gonna retreat. It may go back into the trough, and recombine and come back out as something really beautiful. But right now, the freak out is on. So, the iPhone effect. This was released 10 years ago. This is the original model. Some of us, a lot of us were around and bought into it. Really awesome device. What's really awesome about this device is what's inside of it. It's the most elegant, beautiful design, but inside is just, oh. To a tech person, oh man, it's awesome inside. Because it has everything going on inside. It has Moore's Law with the processing and the chip power. It had like the camera was better than my digital camera, and the mapping, it does maps, and then you have artificial intelligence with Siri, who's like my best friend now, and you have energy storage. Like we're really, really happy that the phone lasts for a day, right? But So this is where you get these exponential curves, and you start stacking them into what I call the IE bundle, or the iPhone effect bundle. And the bottom line being the orange one, think of that as battery tech. Battery tech has really been flatlined for a long time. It's really going to take off. And it's just kind of coming into the perfect sweet spot, hopefully, in the next 2 years with some new technology that's coming there. So this kind of works, right? So because of all that cool stuff that's in the iPhone, you take basically the inside of an iPhone and stick it in a car. It's got all the components really that you want, add some more sensors, and you got self-driving autonomous cars, right? Follow me on this, this is really good. Right, then you have the iPhone effect plus toy helicopters. You get drones, because it's all small, it's miniaturized, it's lighter, which means it can fly, right? And you got amazing cameras, so you have like 4K footage coming off of these things. Mind-blowing. So follow me on this. If you take IE plus drones plus autonomy, you get flying cars. You laugh, it's happening. Why do people laugh when we talk about it? Solve a big problem. So there's a saying, if you help a billion, do you want to be a millionaire? Who wants to be a millionaire? Students, you better want to be a billionaire. Anybody want the, yeah, exactly. Okay, good. You want to be a billionaire, help a billion people. Very straight up, simple. And the problem is, really, we spend a lot of time working on stuff that's rather inconsequential. It took 12 years to actually take the Post-it note from the lab to market. It's paper and glue. But scientists and researchers and all kinds of people were working for 12 years. We don't have 12 years to fix some of the world's biggest problems. And that's really where I want to talk today, is like, how do we use technology? How do we use everything that we're doing to solve some of the big problems in the world? And tech is going to be a big part of it. The iPhone effect times water and food supply. The iPhone effect against education. This is what we need to be thinking about. All of us. Not watching Netflix. By the way, yeah, Black Mirror, the next season is awesome. Really, this is serious. Like, we're spending a lot of time working on stuff. The smartest minds, there's a saying in the Silicon Valley right now, the smartest minds are trying to figure out how to get ads into your stream on Instagram instead of working on some of the world's biggest problems. The intelligence is focused on the wrong things. That's our rant. The other thing is, most of us feel that it's not up to us. Most of us look to Elon Musk, or I'm in the UK, so I should say Sir Richard Branson. We look at these guys and go, but they're the risk takers. They're the guys that are going to plow forward and make all this happen. Well, I'll tell you what, they're just like us. They're just like you. On the inside, they still have the same fears. They still have families that they're trying to take care of. But ultimately, the risk is just kind of their hobby. This crazy stuff they're doing is their promotional side of things. Ultimately, they're just optimists. They're looking at all the things. They're looking at where trends are, how to do it at the right time, and how it's all going to work. And ultimately, they're really, really smart because they know how to find their tribe. They know how to find the people that are going to help push them and their idea forward. None of them, as much as you like to think that they're the only guys doing it, there's a team of thousands of people behind them. That's how it works. So find your tribe. And one way to think about it is last century was all about discovery. We discovered a whole lot through research. This century, it's about building. Together, we're building stuff. Amazing stuff. From rockets to new currencies. So, I'm not sure if this is an exploding star or a black hole, but I'm pretty sure it's an exploding star, or just galaxy in general. I'm not that big into space. However, 2 weeks ago, I got invited to go to a space tech conference. And I'm kind of geeky, but not that geeky. But it was really inspiring because I'm meeting all these people, and we're shaking hands, and what are you working on? And the person would say, I have this crazy idea. I'm going to create this satellite constellation, and we're going to do this, we're going to create a new communications network. Oh, that sounds really cool, but why do you think that's crazy? I don't know, because I tell people when they don't really believe I'm going to do it. I'm like, I believe you're going to do it. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Then you go talk to the next person. Hi, what are you doing? I'm doing low Earth orbit manufacturing. We're going to be like doing 3D printing in orbit. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, but everybody thinks it's crazy. I don't think you're crazy. And it was amazing to see over a period of the first day of the conference that everybody was using the word crazy when they described what they're working on. By the afternoon, they weren't the only crazy people. It was a room full of crazy people, but all the crazy canceled out the crazy, so everybody was actually just good with each other. We found the tribe. There was no egos, and I got sucked into it too. I'm like, can I help you? Everybody was helping each other. It was really, really the most amazing thing to see the tribe get helped before your very eyes. So the first day went from crazy to, we're pretty good with this, but still kind of had this like, there's a high probability of failure, to the second day, people going like, I just met this other person, we've like combined our projects together, and we're going forward, and we're doing this. In 24 hours, 48 hours, we're literally changing the industry, and these are all early stage space tech startups. Space is going to be a really big category, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So basically find and expand your tribe. Anybody got a crazy idea, find somebody else who's sharing that vision with you. If you find somebody that's doing something really crazy and you like what they're doing, join them and help them. That's how it works. Regression, not regrets, regression. So I talked before about the social fabric and the collective shift. Well, when I was a kid, I really wanted to go on the Common Core. That was like, I wanted to go supersonic. That was the ultimate. I'm not old, yeah, I know. But essentially, people weren't willing to pay $10,000 to save that much time. It was an experience, but not worth that much money. And society basically said, going back to society deciding, society said, I don't know, $600 for 600 miles an hour to get 600 miles, sounds about right. And that was kind of the end of supersonic travel. Moon exploration, everybody kind of knows what happened with the US. Went to the moon, but stopped going to the moon. And that was a long time ago. In fact, the space industry basically almost did everything but shut down in the last 35 years. And now it's coming back, and it's coming back through private industry. But ultimately, it was through, again, society saying to the politicians, this is something I don't think we should be spending a lot of time on. Again, politicians are a mirror of the society they represent. So how do you stop things from regressing? Well, I think part of it is dreaming, and people still dreaming and looking into the future. And the good news is we're getting back in there, and it's private. So we're getting back into supersonic travel. There's a couple of programs right now coming together with supersonic travel. And there's a multitude of actual programs on people heading back to the moon. We have people working on getting to asteroids to do mining. And we all know that we're heading to Mars, right? It's coming, like it's real, super real. So this is, what was a crazy idea until I meet other crazy people. But this is what's happening and what I'm working on. Essentially, air taxis by 2025. This is our prototype. It only exists in a computer, but we're looking to make it real very quickly because by 2020, 2 years from now, right? Dallas and Los Angeles and Dubai will be doing demos. Like it's moving really, really quickly. Now going back, the whole stack of all these emergent technologies, we have to deal with that plus a multitude of other things like how do we deal with safety and how do we deal with autonomy and how do we deal with airspace and how do we deal with all these things, how do we blow all these barriers out of the way? We find the best people we can. We believe that we're not crazy. And by everybody getting together and working on it, it's going to make a difference. And people say, John, why are you working on that? It ultimately comes down to, I've spent a long time in technology. And ultimately, most of what I've created in the last 20 some odd years, you can't see, I can't point to it. But ultimately, I think we all want to leave a legacy. I think we all want to leave something behind that our grandchildren can look at and say, oh, my grandparents did that. And that's what I feel everybody can work on. So, what's your big idea? What do you want to fix? Society's waiting for you to step up. Go build something awesome. Thank you.